Welcome, guys. We're live.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. We got a full house today.
We
Thank
do.
you so
Thank you.
much for
Thank
coming
you.
in to the flats.
Hey.
What's been going on?
Not much. Creating, hustling, bustling, the usual.
Creating, healing, manifesting,
Yes.
doing all the things that fills my cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys all have very diverse talents and skills that you've been putting out there. So how's that been for you, managing all those different passions and stuff?
Ooh. For sure, managing, like to me, I would say it's not even managing, it's just more like, how much more can I do? In my mind, I'm like, oh, I need to go on to the next every day. Like, I lose my mind. And I have conversations with Maze, and she's like, girl, you will burn out. So, like, chill out. But,
Time management is really important, though,
Yeah.
like
It
especially
is,
as a
yeah.
creative. So if you learn how to time manage, then you can actually, you don't have to give your 100%, but, you know how to time manage so you not get to a point where you burn out, then you absolutely do nothing.
Yeah, because I'm doing this full time now,
Yeah.
and I feel like I have much more time than before.
yeah.
And sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough, even though I produce maybe 3 works
Yeah.
in a week or like 2 works, but I'm like, I have 7 days and I only produce 3, and it's I don't know, sometimes it's just like productivity, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, to me, it's like, because like obviously before, like a month earlier this year, I walked out on my day job and decided to just go full time and just keep creating and just survive off of it. And it was really hard. And like you said, like, you have all the time, but
Yeah.
you still feel like you're not doing enough.
Yes.
Because like you, at that point, like before in the past, it was, oh, I was at work, that's why I couldn't do this. I was at this place, that's why I couldn't do this. But then you have all this time, and I even judge myself a bit more. But then, like, with you guys, did you guys ever like get into a spiral, like down, like just feel like you just hate yourself because of what you've created? And like,
I feel like hate is a strong word. I wouldn't say hate. I have my moments where I'm like, okay, like that fear or that self-doubt is obviously uncomfortable. So therefore there's something pushing me to tell me, okay, this is time to look within what's making you uncomfortable. There's something that you're not happy with. And generally, if you burn yourself out, it means you are either doing things that you don't love, or you're just doing too much and you're biting more than you can chew. And that's okay. And it's okay to recognize as an artist that it's okay to say no, and it's okay to also like honor yourself and honor what you need to do at that time. So your feelings, your emotions, your mental health, because what you're producing at the end of the day is you. So you have to show up as your best self. Like I'm sure you'd go to, like, when you're doing wedding photography or anything like that, when you go into work, you want to show up as your absolute best self.
Yeah.
And if you're burning out, it shows and it relays over to people.
Yeah.
So it's about centering yourself. And I wouldn't say hate. I would say more, I question. So when I question, I have to go within, meditate on it, do some self-reflection, journal it down. There's something going on, so I need to like tap into what's happening, and it's usually to push you forward.
yeah.
I mean, for me, it's not that uncomfortable or hate the work that I produce. It's just that sometimes I'm not proud enough of that. Like, okay, this is good, but I don't think this is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but
And that's good. Self-doubt is good. Like, that's what pushes you. That's what you you need a bit of that. And it's something I think every person has to some degree, but most artists, I would say, always have that self-doubt of like, am I doing enough? Is this good enough?
Yeah.
Like, do people like it? Like, do they even care? But if you produce amazing photography.
Thank
Like,
you.
like they
Yeah,
are
man, I don't think you need to worry too much.
exactly.
Anton
You're too
is
They are delicious. Like, I just want to eat it up.
He's been producing like this since we were in uni. Like, and I remember when we were like in class, like first year university, and then like this guy rocks up with like some of these photos. I'm like, why are you here? Like,
No, you guys are too nice.
No, this is the truth, man. Like,
is.
it's look at it, and that's why. But the thing is, that's what makes you such a like an amazing, talented artist that produces this, because
Thank
you're
you.
able to self-reflect and question yourself.
Yeah.
When you question yourself, that means you're going to do better and keep
Yeah.
trialing, and it's trial and error.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And that's one thing that like I feel like when I first started doing, like when I first started pumping out photography, I really judged myself, and I thought that was not okay. And because I was judging myself and I thought that was not okay, it even made it worse. I got so depressed and I started feeling this sort of, even though it's a very strong word, I started feeling this hate towards something that I loved so much.
Yep.
And then until I learned that like it's actually okay for you to doubt yourself sometimes.
Exactly.
And it's actually okay for you to question yourself, because that means that your mind, your body, your soul is not comfortable where you are, and it wants you to grow and do more.
Exactly.
You know, and like since the moment I accepted that, I feel like I've seen my work progress and be better. And it's also because I'm actually finally allowing myself see that.
Yeah.
You know, what about you guys? Did you guys ever feel like there was a point where you thought like you would not do this again? Like you just got to the point you're like, I'm not gonna do this again. Have you ever gotten to that point?
In what way? I'm not going to do this again.
Like you're not probably like with you, you're not gonna model again. You're probably not gonna be writing again. Just something that just triggered you to feel like, oh, maybe this is not for me, or.
For sure, I wouldn't say there's some days where I'm like, I'm going to take a break. Like, for example, I took a break last year for 4 months. My Instagram obviously grew very quickly in a very short amount of time that I wasn't expecting it. And also I was going through mental health things and I was getting triggered by all sorts of things, and I had to take a break. And that was taking a break from my social media was my business, what I do, what I produce. Obviously, I'm also a skin therapist and I do skin, but that was also half of my life. So I had to like take a step back and go, okay, I need to, like reel this in. And I had those moments, but it was more I just needed a break for myself. But I think we all have that, as in like, am I doing this? Is this the right thing that I'm doing? And I had moments where I nearly quit, but that was, as you would know, some of the stories what happened with mine. I had a more of a traumatic event that happened with modelling where, a photographer took advantage of me. And unfortunately, if any females are watching out there, please make sure you're careful with this industry as well. I nearly quit because it was very traumatic to a point where I was going to like it got bad, it got really dark, but like things happen. And now I was going to quit multiple times, and I was like, I'm not going to do this. And I love doing artistic nude and fine art, and that's what I wanted to do, but I wasn't allowed to because people decided to take advantage of that. So I had those moments where I nearly did quit because of that. Honestly, that was probably my biggest time. But after that, I realized this is something that I love and I want to create, and I cannot let those people win.
Exactly.
I just need to help people from my experience and let them know what to do with it.
Exactly.
And as a female, as a brown woman who's an immigrant who had to, like really grind from zero to nothing.
Tell me about it.
We all are. So we understand how much you've got to work, and if something knocks you down, you're going to keep getting it up and keep doing it. So I got knocked down really bad, but I still got up and I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing it because this is what I love. And it showed me how much I love it. Regardless, people always ask me after this such traumatic event, how did you just keep going? And I'm like, because I love it. Because I love it. And I love creating. So no matter what, my pain is my power. So I'm going to keep doing this.
Fuck yes, bitch.
And also I think like you grow more because of that. You learn
100%.
more about yourself and like who to work with.
Grows experience.
Future,
Grows character, we say.
It's character. But it's like, especially when it comes to like what you said, being brown, and like obviously both of us, like not both, all three of us.
Both
here.
of us?
All three of us.
All three of us
are minority people of color and also immigrants to like Australia. And it's like, how has that experience been, and how has that reflected towards your careers or like towards like your artistic identity?
I think my identity affects my art, like who I am, where I grew up, what I saw when I was a kid, what I ate and everything. Really, you could really see in my art because of my background, because of where I'm from. I feel like my art is richer. I don't say that other people's art is not good or whatever, but I feel like mine is so true to me because of what because of my identity.
Yep.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow. And I can definitely see that in like
Oh yeah.
your choice of colors and how you curate your art and like what you choose to shoot and how you choose to shoot. I can see that liveliness because like you being from like Indonesia,
Yeah.
Bali, you wake up to those sunsets
Oh, that's
every
the
day.
best.
So like to reflect that and see that in your art, I can be like, oh my gosh, like I don't have to tell that like whether I could just tell this is someone who's so connected to the water
Yes.
and so connected to
I
the
am.
stars. So like I can definitely see that for sure.
No, it's
in
not
your
also
pieces.
like it's beautiful to wake up for sunrise, but when the first light hits your face, it's one of the best feeling.
Oh,
It's
100%.
yeah.
And that's when you
It's-
get your actual vitamin
Vitamin
D.
D.
It's beautiful.
True.
It's
So, yeah.
refreshing, 100%. And that's the thing. I see that in your
Thank you.
photography all the time.
You
You can
guys are
tell.
too nice.
No,
Yeah.
it's the truth. It's the truth.
It's facts.
Ladies and gentlemen, he and whoever's watching out here, he is very humble. Always very, very humble, which is a beautiful thing about
Thank you,
you,
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
really love. It's heartwarming.
Yeah,
but
it is.
it going back to the how much our background
Yes.
affects us 100%. You were an immigrant coming to here.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And then Adanna was a diplomat.
Yeah.
So we all came to this land from somewhere else than Australia. So
Yeah.
I'm
Hashtag Nigeria. Shout out to my homies.
Iraq. Hello. Anyone watching? Hands
Yeah.
up to
A
Iraq.
few watching, I think, tonight.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Shout out to Khalil. Thank you for tuning
Oh
in.
yes. Hello.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Emmy, all the homies.
All the homies.
We are international. Hey, it's
You
nice.
yeah. Out of borders, man. They try to close us during Corona, but we're like, nah.
Feel
But
free
definitely
to
if,
send questions
um,
over to in the chat, guys. We are watching the chat, so
Oh,
send them over.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes, please.
Yes, let us know.
Sorry, continue.
Oh yes, so definitely it affects and it inspires me personally. Like I traveled the first 10 years of my life, so going from like a war zone, took me about 5 years to get to Australia. By the time I got to here, I've like seen war, I've seen different countries, all types of beauty as well, beauty and pain. Like that's just what makes life, right? So I was like, who I am now, it shapes me,
Yes.
and I'm able to, I write poetry, and even with modeling, when you express an emotion, regardless of what it is, it comes from that heart.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing my activist work, it's, that's what I'm trying to do is try help. And no matter what I'm doing in my work, it is a big core of me, as you would know. That's why you could see it in your work, and even yourself. Adanna's from Nigeria, so even connecting to the food, to the clothes,
Yeah.
you incorporate your your fashion with your your Nigerian background.
Yeah.
So it's such a big impact on all of us, and it shows in our art as well. Some people may see it, some people not, and that's the beauty about art. Everyone makes their own perception of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, I wouldn't know who I would be without what I've been through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A response is a response, no matter if it's
Exactly.
bad or good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And for me, it's like I've been with me with artistic, like what I've seen growing up, it's been emotion.
Look at her work. Look at her work.
It's been emotion for me 100%. Like I love to be explosive. I think anyone who knows me personally knows that I do label myself as extra, like since I was young, because I don't like things to just look
Basic.
plain.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I want them to be like an explosive emotion, and whether it's odd, like I want people to trigger and look at it and say like, why did she do that? You know, like what about it? Is it? And when I started shooting, I was very insistent on only shooting Black people, because I was a bit frustrated with society and representation for a while, not seeing people that look like me growing up, and people that, whether it's my body type or my skin color, and obviously growing up in mostly white dominated countries. I'm not saying these countries are just automatically racist, but like because they're white dominated, there is a part of alienation that I felt,
Yeah.
and I felt like I always had to prove my worth to everybody, whether it was at school because I'm the new kid in the block, I'm the loudest kid, I'm not the most attentive, like but then people always just loved my vibe. So like I had to also learn to as the way I had to learn to love myself by myself, I had to learn to love my art. And I think Anton, you were probably the closest with me at the time when I started, and I was very insecure about my art, and you were just like always motivating me and telling me that like you are unique this way. People might not like it now because they don't see what you see.
Yes.
But
100%.
if you keep growing, they will finally see it, and they'll be the ones hitting you up.
And look at you now.
and
Look
look,
at you now.
exactly, like
yeah.
it's a huge journey, and I just want to shout out to anyone who is at a point feeling insecure about the work. Please stop posting and deleting. Like you're gonna look back and you ask yourself like, why did I delete that? Like delete if it's not part of your like aesthetic or whatever, but don't delete because you're insecure. You don't think that is enough, because at the end of the day, you sharing is you sharing yourself, and you sharing.
Just gotta own it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
You
gonna
gotta own that. You know, that's like, regardless if you don't like it, you may not like it at the time, but you know, you look back and it's like it's a journey, and you can like look back at it.
Exactly.
It's something to reflect on.
And I think we are so lucky because we have each other. Like I feel like support system is very, very important.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, if you're
Who
an
your
artist.
support system and who you hang out with or who you're surrounded by
100%.
is a big it's your energy field. It's who you are going to be. It's what pushes you and what inspires you, and you like it or not, that's what, if you expose yourself to that all the time. So if you're someone who's a creative, you know, I always gravitate towards creatives, and it makes me feel like I say, fill my cup, because that's what
Yes.
makes me, that's what I vibe with, you know. That's so I need more of that, and that's something that keeps me going in my art. If I wasn't surrounded by that, I feel would be quite stagnant and just uninspired.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely really, really good to have creatives around you.
Creatives,
My
creatives.
parents always said, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that like
I like
as
that.
creatives that we didn't even have to try. Like look at the way we met each other.
Well, we met
Truly.
at a fashion show.
Yeah.
Going back to like the lack of representation.
Yeah.
Me and Adanna met at a fashion show, and there was some sort of representation, but it was mainly you and I.
Some sort of.
But this is not the only one, only fashion show. This is multiple, and I've been modeling for 5 years, and I've done fashion shows. I've done shoots, all sorts, and people are always, you know, I'm sorry, not really sorry, but I'm always generally the token brown person.
Yeah.
And I've said it, and I'm not afraid to say it, and some people feel uncomfortable, or sometimes I'm, you know, you can tell it was like, here you go, I've done my bit.
Yeah.
Give me a pat on the back.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's so frustrating, and it's just one of those things where it's not even just the color, even body size is not represented. Having certain, you know, as soon as you've got, you know, you're a person of color or a brown person or any person of color, they'll top you a certain size. It adds more and more and more and more, and it just shows this industry is great, and I love it, and it's all about creating, and it's changing, and I love that. There's so much more room to change, and especially speaking in Canberra, because you can only, when you want to do change and you want to make change and dismantle things through your friends, your day-to-day life, the community around you. And the community around me at the moment, unfortunately, there's a lack of representation in color, size, and it's quite disheartening. It would be nice to see a community to really celebrate and bring that in, because that's how we can make the change.
Sorry to cut you off. Do you know I actually can't do my hair in a salon in Canberra?
I know we were talking about that.
I
Yeah,
can't do my hair in the salon in
because
Canberra.
the fashion show we met,
Yeah.
wow.
nobody could do her hair.
No one.
Wow.
And
The guy was like,
so
"Oh,
bad.
how am I gonna play with your hair today?"
That is so sad. That is
I
so
was
sad.
like, "What?" And I was so angry. And I think Mace was the only one that spoke to me at that show. She gave me grapes, and I was so hungry. And the grapes felt like this 5-star cuisine. I was like, "Yes."
You got to feed your people. You got to
And
keep them
literally,
hydrated.
Exactly. And we kept talking talking, and then and she was like, "Oh, you look upset, blah, blah blah," and we were talking about it, and I was like, first of all, I walked in here, the makeup artist asked me if I had.
I knew straight away. By the way, I knew because I could see. Because every time fashion show, there's always someone that cries or someone that's not happy, and generally, guess who it is? It's someone, a person of color that's not happy. They, there's some situations, but I've had certain girls other than even Adanna cry, but even I saw her straight away. Obviously I don't want to go and assume, but I saw and I was like, she is not happy with her makeup, and it was so bad. I'm so sorry. Bad. That was like on the behalf of the community. That was just so bad.
It's not your fault, because like I think, even I'm gonna call out my own people, because even like Black people, man, a lot of African people, we're lacking in even looking after ourselves.
Yeah,
because the person who organized that event is a person of color, is a Black woman.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Part Black. So I felt like, that sort of thing, like I know it's not your duty, but at the same time it is, because the opportunity that you have, like the space that we have, like this world is so into self that we forget that like sometimes we need to take care of other people in order to look after ourselves. Like imagine the loyalty she would have had for me if like that was just something that of security, of like, oh, like let me make sure that my girls, people that look like me, are actually looking good. The disappointing thing, do you know what they say is, it's like bring your own foundation color. And you're like sitting there going, what do you mean?
So I get paid like everyone else who isn't using their foundation. And like, even for me to buy a foundation, I have to buy high end.
I would say shout out to Katie Sirico for actually going and she's one of the best makeup artists. I really have high respect for her, who actually went out of, she knows, like she educated herself as a makeup artist to do all types of skin color, and she's baffled that some people don't. And she is just, it's just something. It's basics, you know. Like if you're a makeup artist, you should be able to do like even though. And it shows. They're like, oh, there's just not, usually I don't do this. I'm like, yeah, because there's not many people of color that are chosen in this industry. It's usually mainly Caucasian, and that's cool. It's all about celebrating different colors, but it just shows the fact that you're not even experienced with it. It's because you're not exposed to it. We don't get the opportunity. And now that we are, we should be able to go and educate yourself and upskill, go up and learn watch some YouTube.
Yeah, and also I think there are many people of color here in Canberra to practice with,
100%.
So many.
So many. I
can literally show you, pull up photos of like Black girls who
hit me up. Who
are killing it right now, modeling everywhere, like killing it. Like, and then it's like the same thing where like, you go into like, I don't want to name labels right now, but like you go into a makeup drugstore, and I literally asked, this is in Canberra, like I asked them like, why don't you have any black shades? Like the darkest shades they have is Maze's color. And she was like, oh, because we don't have a lot of Black girls come in and buy foundation. Wow. I was like, trust me, once you put something in the shelf, you see them come in.
And then I at times with my base, I go orange. So they don't, like if I go into, if I'm in winter, I'm fine. I'm a bit safe. As soon as I go into summer, I am not safe. I just go orange. So everything base is orange. And like it takes time, but now I just honestly, most of the time I don't wear foundation because skin.
Amazing skin.
So I'm all about skincare. I mean, I have foundation on today, just disclaimer. But obviously, speaking, it's sad. Like it's disappointing.
Yeah.
We need to up our game. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Like if you're in this industry, let's be more inclusive. Not just be inclusive by just like, oh, here you go, I'm just going to chuck one or two. Actually make it inclusive.
Yeah.
Get to know your creatives, the makeup crew, know who's who, put some effort, put some love into it. And there's a lot of people that do that. It's just at the moment, the scales are a bit off. It's a bit out of balance.
It is.
Yeah, but I think it's good that we realize that there is something completely wrong in that, and I think three of us like we built a community where we could start something like different.
Yeah.
Something that we want to see in the future. Yeah.
Exactly. Like what May said, like it's like taking action in our day-to-day lives, like correcting, like just even when you're a friend, like I had this one girl, and she was so excited to get her hairstyling blah 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 license thing, and I was like, oh, like I'd love you to do my hair, and she's like, unfortunately I don't know how to do Afro hair. And I had a conversation with her, and I was like, you should actually not be proud to say that. Like I get it, but like why is it you know how to do every other hair but black hair and the Afro hair? Like I get the texture is different.
regardless,
But
I mean, there's so
still,
many
come
different
on.
textures. Obviously,
Like,
it's a cop out. That to me, that's a cop out.
It is. And I think a lot of people of color and minorities, like, speak up. Like, don't be shy. Don't let people make you feel like just because you're standing for your own right or for your own representation that you're this over the blah 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 person. Like, speak up. Like, if you go, I wish that honestly, I wish that fashion show I had said something, because I think that's what frustrated me more. Is like I keep getting into these situations and I feel that no, don't waste your anger, don't. But then it eats me up inside.
Yeah.
And if I say something to him like, actually you're being rude and that's actually very segregative to be playing with my hair, that's very disrespectful, he would have probably been like, oh my God, like.
And
you're
of
right.
course, for you, it's going to be uncomfortable. But that's what I was saying, that when we're feeling uncomfortable, it means we're ready for that. You've got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When you're comfortable with the uncomfortable, you can, that's when you like push through. And it's, like it's annoying that you have to be and frustrating to be in those positions, but sometimes we got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
Is there any questions going through the chat?
Yeah, we got one from Emmy.
Hey. Hi, Emmy.
We did touch on this earlier a little bit, but your support systems here in town, what do you look for in a support system and a group and creatives to work with? What do you look for in people that you work with?
Oh, we did touch base on this one.
Ooh.
Anton,
Can I
you
go first?
Yeah.
Of course, take it away.
I think for me is the passion and the drive. Like you have to be passionate about something. Either it is photography, modeling, videography. If you're not passionate, you might be doing it for like 2 weeks or like 3 weeks, and then the fourth week you're gonna stop. And then the drive, because you could be super talented at something, but if you don't go out and shoot 2 days a week, for example, you're not gonna go somewhere, or you would probably go somewhere, but in 10 years or 5 years. So I think those two are what I'm looking for. Yeah, and
passion.
Yeah, passion and drive.
100%.
Yes.
And if they've got to have that passion and drive, and they go hand in hand.
Yes.
That's and having that is so important. Sometimes, like as a group of friends, we're pretty lucky. We've got Emmy, who is a musician, producer, and Adanna's doing film and photography. Anton's a photographer and is also doing film, and I do modeling and acting, and I also write poetry. So and there's other things that we all do, but on this, but it's such. Like that combination, it doesn't necessarily everyone does the same thing, but we all bounce off of each other.
Yeah.
It all comes in together. It's just like a nice little sort of unity that we have, that when we bring it together, we can create magic, which is what you, as every creative, I wish upon them is to have that support system. It's not easy. It's not quick. You won't find it like that. You have to sort of figure out yourself first, and then you'll attract the right people. If you're sort of not sure about yourself and where you're going as well, you're going to also attract those people who are not unsure, and then you're going to be asking yourself, why is this happening, why, et cetera, et cetera. So look within yourself first, and I find that's what, and then you come back together and you're able to create magic.
To me, there's something you said to me, Anton, a few days ago. This one word that I think is very important. Tribe.
I'm scared.
Tribe.
Oh, tribe, yes.
Tribe.
Your tribe attracts your vibe attracts your tribe. Yeah, for sure.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. Like in the sense that like I'm so grateful, because a few years ago, this was the one thing that I wished for myself. And I knew this was the stepping stone to my idea of success in my artistic career. I was like, every single person in my life has to have some kind of artistic crave, because that's the only way I can stay inspired.
Yes.
They have to, like, yes, like you can have a drive and you have the passion. Like that already comes with like the crave. But this person, like you need to be able to be hungry for your vision. You need to be able to visualize yourself doing this like till endless, to like day gone by, and like that's why. And
it's also okay if you stop. It's okay to also, if you don't see yourself doing that, and you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm ready to switch it up and do something else. It all just adds on. It's all part of your experience. But whatever it is in that time, 100%, you should see yourself like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it. And that's what I'm going to do, because I am this. And that's going to manifesting what you are. I am this. And you're full-heartedly owning yourself and honoring who you are. But you've got to tap into that, You've got to really know what you want
Yeah.
and then work for it, and then you'll get that. But you also got to have that vision. So the vision is so important.
Yeah.
To
Focus too.
focus. Yeah. So you focus, you write down what you want, you actually work for it. And then as soon as you start doing that, everything that you're looking for starts to fall in place. I'm not saying it all like just, whoop-de-doo, just boom, it comes out. Obviously, it takes time with certain things, but it doesn't matter. You just keep going.
Yeah, it's intuition. It's like listening to your heart. Like a lot of times, I was very confused because I have my head telling me one thing and then my heart telling me one thing. And if anybody maybe wants to tap into this, but I'm a Virgo. So Virgos are very meticulous, very, very calculated.
I think I am a Virgo
You're
too.
a Virgo
No,
too?
I'm on the cusp.
You're the cusp.
Yeah. So it's like that focus for me is very important because it's like I can derail. I can just have my moments and just want to have my fun. But I think my mind, my body, and my soul has been so focused since the day I was practically born on art and wanting to succeed as a musician, as an artist, so photographer, anything, that it's like I can't have people who are not aligning in that focus in my daily life, at least. Like even you and I, we hang out all the time. Like I think anyone who follows you on Instagram or Snapchat will see that like Maze and I are like tied by the bone, by the hip. Sorry. So it's like but that probably won't be as successful as a friendship if you and I didn't have that connection and that focus towards like even when we just sit in the bed, we're like just talking about what's going to be our next photo shoot.
We both bring different things, and obviously like we've even both established it. Like you're curious and you like to learn, and I'm like ready to give you all the information that I have. And it comes together. That's more on the spiritual side. And then we've got the art that we connect with. So personally, of course, we mesh because we both have that curiosity and learning.
Yeah.
And then we, at the same time, we're both creative and we want to do that. So, and we know how to, it just meshes. It's just easy.
Yeah.
It's, you don't have to even think about it. It's just,
it just works out.
It works out.
And I think like reach out, like it's like we don't realize that we have so many creative people here in Canberra.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Like so many.
So many.
Like hashtag Nick sitting right here.
Thanks to
Viva's
Nick for
here.
bringing us
I
together.
wish y'all could just see this room that we're in right now. Like it's ridiculous.
We
Next
have
level.
insane talent in Canberra that's not utilised.
Yeah.
And we should definitely utilise it more. There's so many projects and whatnot happening. And actually, I was doing a part of a production team, but I was working with BBC and Singapore Airlines, and they fly out 4 times a week from Canberra, and we came to Canberra to shoot it, and it was from overseas. And unfortunately, that was the photo shoot that made me fall in love with Canberra again, right?
Wait,
Wow.
did you have the photo in your photo?
I think I have this here. So we have
Oh.
Professional.
so that's me and a model. So we
Month and
Wow.
When was this shot?
about 3 years ago.
Damn.
2017,
Around
18.
that,
Yeah.
17.
Wow.
It's been 5 years. Everything just overlaps.
Oh, there's Maze with the
Yeah.
I was like, which one is me?
Which one is she? I don't know. I go from fringe to no fringe, so you never know. I switch it up. But yeah, we went around Canberra and
5 years ago.
so that was probably about 3 years ago that we shot this.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Sorry, I meant like I'll be modeling for 5 years, so everything overlaps.
Okay.
But we went around Canberra and we got to, show the sights of, all around. And I was in charge of, going around showing where we're going to go and shooting everything, timing everything, and obviously modeling as well. And I fell in love with Canberra all over again, right? But I just was like, wow.
Canberra.
I was already in love with it, and I think it's beautiful. But I wish that we showcase more of this.
Yes.
And that was the moment where I was like, I wish we had, shout out to the production team that came, that were amazing, but it would have been, really good to.
They came from Singapore?
Yeah, he came from,
Wow.
yeah, this was international. So
Wow.
he came in, and it was fantastic, and it was great exposure. But I wish that we also had a team where people from Canberra, everyone was international. I was the only one from Canberra, and I scouted. There was another model that was scouted that was there, and that was it. Everyone else was just,
I'll be doing it next time. I'm putting it out there.
Yes.
Exactly. But I was so happy they came here and they wanted to do that,
yes.
and it was really important. And that was when I was like, oh wow, Canberra's beautiful. Canberra needs to be showcased more.
It is beautiful.
And ever since I was like, no, we need to show. I went to Tidimbella, I went to also like just going around and just seeing the sunsets, the water, like the air, as much as it is small and, there is with creative wise, it's limited, but it's still like a little diamond that's just sitting there. Everyone's trying to, figure out. So I'm going to enjoy this while we have this.
Yes. No, because a month ago, I worked with, remember Nicholas?
And Tarini.
And Tarini.
Actually, can we pull that up? Because that video is ridiculous. Like Anton's work, like, you would think Anton is in some, like, I don't know, LA, like some beach
Adanna
in the tropicals, but it's all Canberra. All Canberra.
I love this. It's gorgeous. And by the way, the singer is Tarini. She's also
the singer is
Canberra.
Tarini and the dancer is Nicholas. And they're all Canberrans.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And this is shot in Lake Burley Griffin. Is it Burley Griffin, Baconin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. And
also, can we also...
Ginendera.
Sorry, Ginendera. Yes.
Wow.
Also, can we just add that the dancer, Nicholas, was dancing to a complete different song to what Anton actually edited. So that's how much of a creative he is. He had like recorded something as like a passion project and then, heard this song and then was able to incorporate them together and mesh it in. And I was like, what? You are insane, like insanely
crazy.
Yeah, I love it.
I remember when Anton told me he wanted to sing to film someone in the ocean, and Tarini came to. So Tarini is friends with this amazing rapper called Sick Lonely, who is freaking amazing. I think everyone should really go check him out.
He is brilliant.
And he brought Tarini over to do some recording for some of his music, and then Tarini played this song, and I called Anton instantly. I was like, Anton, I have found your song. I have found your song.
This is it.
And he listened to it, and surprisingly, he called me. He was like, "Oh my God, this is actually really amazing."
No. My point is that there are so many creative people here, and if you just reach out, like, look what I've done. I mean, it's a collaboration between Canberra artists and the dancer, the singer. And we shot in Ginendera, and it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Crazy.
And stay tuned. We're all working together to create some projects to show around like Canberra and near around Canberra. We've got some things.
Some things are coming.
And also
there is a little hint. It's spoken because I do poetry and I write poetry. So it's to do with my experiences as a foster kid being in a kids refuge, all sorts of living in a war zone, coming to Australia, and a lot of it comes from my experiences. So I write a lot of poetry, and Anton, the amazing Anton, is
the amazing May.
He's
amazing
Adanna.
We're all amazing.
Exactly, we are fantastic. Anton's gonna be we're gonna be cooperating with, of course, Adanna as well. She's gonna be helping out, but we're gonna be filming some spoken word, but we're gonna incorporate some visuals.
Yes.
And that's I'm really excited for that. So it's a bit of past experience poetry, yes, and visuals, all about the
And
aesthetics.
It's about the aesthetics, chasing that.
And
also
the work we did last week with Amy and you.
Oh my God.
The moon?
No, the scooters.
Oh, the scooter, yes.
Have you finished it?
I called Amy the day before. I'm like, Amy, I have this idea.
Yeah.
Do you want to shoot something?
Yeah.
And the next day we went for like an hour to shoot this clip.
Stop traffic in Kingston. I don't know.
Okay, guys, that's unsafe. We don't want. We do not promote.
We don't. Okay, we don't promote. Stuff like that.
Do not stop traffic. The safety first, then teamwork. Then teamwork.
No, because like my main goal, not main, like my first goal. No, so I edited the video.
Yeah.
And I showed my roommate, and he was like, "Oh, this should be the ad for Iskura." It's like for Europe. So.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
And we shot while Amy was driving. So
She's like, oh yeah, I'm having a good
I
time.
was singing. What song was
Scoot
I?
away.
I had a song on, but I don't know. Yeah,
I was singing "Don't Break My Heart."
I don't
by
know. And
Celine
I used
Dion.
like the song from the 80s. It's like it's
You're
a
living
vibe.
your best life.
I am.
You're living your best Canberrian life.
Canberra life,
Those
exactly.
scooters are like
vibe.
they are a vibe.
They
Like
are such a vibe.
everyone
best-
needs to ride those scooters. It's just free and
Oh, do we have any
gorgeous.
questions from the chat? We'll go back to that.
We do.
Let's answer some questions.
How do you guys measure success?
ooh.
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
That's a very
Who's that by?
Basanta.
Is that your
He's
friend?
my roommate. Basanta, thank you, Basanta.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Vicenta.
How do we measure success? Go, Adanna. What do you
Okay.
think? How do you measure success?
How do I met? At this point in my life, I do vision. I do feel I am successful because for the first, everything that I've dreamed of as a child, with the life that I wanted to live, I'm living that now. I wanted to first of all have a full-time job that was within my artistic career, and now I'm working as an edit assist for Wild Bear Productions, which is a small documentary production company. And I wanted to perform. Music was the biggest thing for me because music was the one thing. I was such an angry child. Like, I think anyone who knew me as a child, I was just very, very angry. But when I sang, it was just like I was releasing, and I could actually make sense of my emotions because, and anyone who has issues with anger or just knows what
Seek therapy.
seek therapy. But at the same time, it was the first time I could actually express myself without feeling like I was being delusional or I was doing anything. And to now live that life where like I'm performing tomorrow and I'm headlining the show in front of 200 people.
Congrats.
Thank you.
I'm coming tomorrow.
Yeah. In front of 200 people on a sold out show, it's like, it's just me being like, wow, everything I've dreamed of. And this is just a starting point. Like, success is not something that it's like, oh, I've reached this point, I'm successful, let me go retire. Like, it's just you realizing that, okay, I've gotten to the point that I've wished for myself, and now how much can I grow?
Yeah.
So what is so if you wanted to round that up, what is success for you?
Success is for me when you find.
How do you measure it?
I don't think it's something you can measure.
But
I just think
like
it's a- it's
in
a
the thing
state.
of as like how do you? With the question is more like what do you classify as that? I am successful. How do you measure your success? Like, how are you happy with your work?
How am I happy with my work?
Yeah, success is what do you define success?
I define it as like a state of mind. To me, it's a state of mind. It's me feeling satisfied with where I'm going.
Right. So
It's
then how
not-
do you measure that success through your work? Now?
Through ticking the points of my goals, just ticking them one
so
by
that's
one.
how you measure it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So what about you,
one-
Anton?
For me, success is freedom.
Yeah.
For me, my goal is I want to be able to choose who I want to work with.
Yes.
I want to work with people or companies that has values that are aligned with mine.
Yeah.
I wanna be at that point where I don't have to send pitch like email everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to be at the point where
You're flowing.
works are provided to me.
Yes.
And I'm the one who choose
Yes.
who I want to work with, and that's
Yeah.
for me. Yeah.
That's selecting. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Definitely. That's really
Yeah.
important. Yeah. Awesome.
And also, like my biggest, not my biggest goal. One of my goal is to work with the kids where I'm from.
Yeah.
That's just to help them. a
Of
little bit.
course. And
It's
branch
just-
yeah, definitely. Give them
Same.
that voice.
It's more from my soul.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of
It's
my
so
biggest goal,
important.
yeah.
My biggest goal is to open artistic warehouse where space building wherever anyone can come, whether you're from because unfortunately I came from, I would say, a very comfortable, successful background. Like both my parents were diplomats, but unfortunately I didn't have that support in my artistic career. Like the moment I decided to,
So you want to create that.
I want to create that
yeah.
support for people who, like, you could come from a wealthy background, but your parents just don't support you. And like, I think that is the worst because you can see them, moving forward in their life and their success, but like they don't support you. Like the moment I dropped out of, because I went to med school, I dropped out of med school to become a filmmaker. My dad didn't speak to me for like a year. You know what I mean? And that sort of gap
Yeah.
is like you always have that void, and like that's also why I became angry, because I was like, there's that thing I'm always longing for. So I'm like, look, I'm gonna provide that space, I'm going to provide that collaboration opportunities for people where even when I see like a photographer starting out, like an amazing photographer, I need to shout out Canberra Creative. Like she's really killing it, doing the same thing with Black representation, wants to see people like herself.
You want to support your people.
Yeah.
And do you think that's
know?
part of measuring your success?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
And it's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, success, it's a funny word, right? And
It's a big word.
it's a big
Yeah.
word. So when you say success to me, it's about, for me, it's mind, body, and soul. So no matter what
So
I am,
But I like it. I like this.
and that's what. It's not like I'm successful if I have the most money or I have the most things or I have the most of anything, or success to me is that I am content with what I'm doing at that time and I'm doing the best out of what I'm given. And my mind, body and soul is at tune. I'm healthy, I'm eating well, I'm keeping hydrated, I'm feeling content and fulfilled with the relationships that I have. And throughout life, you grow and change. So I want to be able to adapt and change throughout with myself and have that community around me. So success to me is my mind, body, and soul in tune. So if I have that in tune,
Wow.
everything falls into place. Because no matter what I'm going to do, I'm going to freaking love, because, I'm a creative. I love art. No matter what I'm going to be doing, I don't even feel like I'm working, because even through skin, I'm passionate about skin. I want to help people. And I always, with skin, I always talk about with my clients, it's mind, body, and soul, because everything is connected. As much as people say, oh, you want to be superficial. There's nothing wrong with being superficial and being happy with looking after yourself. And it's also, if you don't want to, that's also fine, but it's also up to you what you define that. So what makes you happy? Like whatever makes you happy, do. So yeah, I think that those are the three things: that mind, body, and soul.
Wow.
Is there actually, out of curiosity, is there lingering out of the success conversation, is there any pieces of art you guys have made out of mistakes?
100%, yeah.
Because that's one thing.
And when you say art, was in like, because specify which one are you? Are you saying like when we're like
it
painting?
It can be
or?
anything. It can be like you write poems. So like let's say you had a direction that you were gonna go with your poetry, but then it went something else. Like with me, it's like
with my ADHD, 100%. We're going left, right, center, all over the place. But yeah, I've had that for sure, where like you start something and then you go in and it's like, I'm sure you've done the photographer, you go out there, you started something, an idea, and it goes somewhere else.
Yeah.
Poetry, not so much, because I write from my heart. So, and I write from my experiences, and I write from what has happened. So like I say, your pain is your power. So I go from that, and it's generally the emotion I'm feeling. I go back and, into whatever that moment, and be able to, if I'm not feeling okay, I write a lot. So you would have seen me, if I'm like in tears, I would sit there, get my pen or my phone out and just start writing, because usually that's when the words are coming to me. And
Hey, the amazing man.
this is some of the work that I've written. I've just written it, but generally what I do with my like social media, most of my poetry is written in my
Caption.
in my captions, relaying, and usually I relay the image to that. But I write a lot about my mental health, which is my top one here, the ADHD. And I need my glasses because I can't see. Of course. Hold on.
Get a live reading here.
We're not live reading.
Hey, let's do it.
Okay,
Let's
I
do
can
it.
definitely
do
do
it.
that for you guys.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, could you just press on the continue reading? I think. Perfect. Thank you. So this is about ADHD. Let me tell you about ADHD. I need you to know, I want to explain. My brain processes things at a fast rate. At times, I can't process a thing. Thoughts collide. I can't decide. I get distracted. Sometimes I need a guide. I promise I'm not trying to be rude. Even air can distract my thoughts. I promise I'm trying. This is not an excuse, just an invitation to take my hand and walk with me. Let me tell you about my ADHD. So that was just coming out of love and wanting, and half frustration, half love of people just not, there's a big taboo about ADHD and people don't talk about it as much, and people, oh, it's not real, et cetera. But also there was a lot of people that wanted to know about it. So I was like, it was a bit of both. So I was like, okay, I just want to say how I feel. So yeah, it's really important to express yourself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. poetry, not so much accident, but I've had, you know, photo shoots, I guess, where I've, you know, you have a certain idea and then you go in and produce something else and then you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, this is not how I wanted it to turn out, but it's actually turned out beautifully. Or you may have a certain idea into your head with the lighting or certain things, and then when you produce it and you see the photos, you're like, it might be not exactly what you thought, but it comes out, you're like, this is a beautiful accident chaos, but I like it. What about you guys? Have you had that?
I think most of mine is from my psychedelic pieces.
Yes, I've seen all of them.
I laugh because it's like, it's just so random. And like a lot of times I go in thinking I have something in mind. I'm going to choose these colors. And then I get too excited.
Yes.
And then you get things like that. Like like this exactly was one of them. That one is one of them. And if you go up to that video, it's just random. Like it's just so random. But I love it.
But remember the spoken word from you wanted to use the background.
The background,
yes.
the spoken word, yes. And I was like, this came out.
Which one are you the most proud of?
My most proud. Oh, if you scroll down, definitely this one. Go up.
That one?
No, go up. That one.
That one?
That one for sure. Because that one, that took me 5 hours to make.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the layers on top, the coloring. I wanted it to be more pink, more blues, but then it just looked like hot lava. And it was
Love
just,
that.
I like just going for it and just, you know, even with a lot of my photography as well, if you go to like some of the folders that I sent through, a lot of my photography, like there's some things that are there just not meant to be there, and they just flow. And it's taught me at the same time to not be so critical of myself or take my art so seriously, because I was listening to Christina Aguilera on her masterclass for the masterclass app, and she was talking about how first time in her career, this is a very talented artist that we all know can sing amazingly well, and she was like, look, like the moment I just decided to let go and stop thinking about whether I'm on pitch, whether I'm on right tone or whatever, the right key, like I just heard myself sound better. Because I'm not criticizing myself, because the voice in me is not, oh my God, you're not doing it well, you're not doing this. It's now like, oh wow, like damn, that sounds nice, that's groovy. Wow. And the moment I heard that, I was like, wow, like, okay, maybe I should reflect that not just in my art, but also in my life. And the moment I did that, I started loving myself. I loved my body a lot more. That's why a lot of my drawings actually do reflect my body, because it took me drawing my body and seeing my body to actually feel like, oh, I'm beautiful. Like, oh, damn. Like, oh, shit. Like, you know,
you are.
Yeah,
you are.
Because I am.
Yeah, because I am. Like, this is me. Like,
exactly.
You know, like,
and obviously, we're growing up. We, all three of us, wouldn't have we didn't have, you know, us, what looked like us on TV. Where maybe somewhat now there's a bit more representation, which is great, and things are changing. But growing up, when the most vital time where you are, you know, creating your identity and getting to know, you know, you're getting exposed to that, and your brain is building up and looking around you for those patterns, and that's how we learn, through patterns and like what's around us. And not having that around you makes you question yourself. You're like, is this obviously, like, probably we are more celebrated now, and it's more, which is amazing. That's what we want to, that change, and have more of that inclusivity. But growing up, we didn't have that. And I grew up with, I was like ex-Muslim. So hope I don't trigger anybody. So I used to wear a headscarf, and obviously coming to Australia, where do you see someone on a headscarf? But now I see shows where there's a lot of Muslim ladies on there that have headscarves on, which obviously I'm not that anymore, but even looking at that, I get really excited, because I know there's a girl out there that would, like a young girl would see that and be like, okay, wow, like, you know, she can do that. But me growing up, I didn't have any of that. So obviously I slowly stirred away from religion and, you know, found my own sort of journey. But regardless, in that time, I didn't have that, and I wish I had that at the time. That would have been nice, but I didn't. And you would speak the same. So when you look at your body or who you are, when other things are celebrated, and they are more made what the, you know, ideal beauty standard, then you start to question yourself growing up, and you start to see that in your adult life, and that myself included. And it's something that we have to decolonize in our minds and dismantle and completely. I say, can we swear on here?
Yeah.
So I say it's unfucking your mind and unfucking all those things that you had, that you might have grown up with, that's from society, that's from your parents, from your friends, because we all grew up we're all children once upon a time, right? And our parents were all like good girl, bad girl, and we always wanted more of the good girl, less of the bad girl or bad boy, right? So then we always look for that good, to get more of that validation. Then we seek that out with our friends. So we start to change ourselves to seek that validation. And if we obviously do something that might be resonating with us that doesn't resonate with someone else, we'll change it in order to get that validation. So we've always been put on this structure where you have to seek validation from other people. You don't. So and it starts with our adult life, and that's how you have to start to learn, okay, I love myself. This is who I am, and this is the body I'm given. Society doesn't dictate who I am and my beauty, and you got to completely own that. Obviously, I don't know about you guys, but growing up, did you have any discrimination or bullying through school or people doing that? Because that added a lot to me, and who I am. There has been bullies who've messaged me now and actually apologize. I shout out, thank you, but it affects you. It does. and adds to your, and coming from like Iraq. From the Middle East to here, and I used to wear a headscarf. I couldn't speak English. All I said was hi, bye, and sorry. And then, you're doing great, Anton.
You're doing well, Anton.
What do you mean? No, you're doing
and
amazing.
Don't let people make you feel insecure because you can't speak English. Like, I bet you, like, how many languages can you speak, bro? Like, and it's so funny that the people who do that,
just because you have a different accent,
the people who make fun of the people who can't speak, because like I grew up in non-English speaking countries, and I've seen how, me being the English speaker, how it is. People who do that, like, you can speak multiple languages, and these people can't even properly speak English properly.
Exactly.
Like, if you actually sit down and write, like if you write and they write, because you actually know your grammar. I've been speaking English my whole life, but I was in like non-English speakers classes in high school, because like I didn't know the grammar because I was learning so many languages. But then, like, if you sit down, you could probably write better than most of those people that are judging you for how you speak.
That's true.
And it's that's okay. Like, and it is hard because our brain is like wired through neural pathways and certain patterns. So you've got to break them, and how you break that is through creating new patterns. And that's what we're all doing. And I hope for everybody to do. If you ever, you don't have to be a person of color. If, of course, in any type of human, just a human being aside, if you ever feel like you need to break those cycles, you have the choice to, regardless of what your circumstances are. Your power is, you may not have any sort of control over anything around you, but you control yourself and your response and what you can do. But yeah, it affects you so much. And did you have any discrimination?
So my mom was Muslim.
Oh yeah.
And my dad is Catholic. So I grew up celebrating both big days, and because I grew up in a Catholic household. And the majority of the people in my village, like 90%, were Muslim. Is Muslim still?
Yeah.
At school, every time we go to school, they always yell at us, me and my brothers, and like some of the Catholic kids that, okay, you eat pork. And if they say you eat pork, it's like the worst thing you could say.
Of course.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Haram.
It's haram, exactly. And being so, in my school, I think there were like 600 students, and there were 3 non-Muslim students. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's how I feel, because like
I was the only one that wore the headscarf till I always. I think there was once upon a time it popped up, but I was always the only one, and I struggled with it. I got called whale veil.
Oh my god!
Because I used to wear this headscarf that was blue, and I was obviously a little bit. I was a healthy woman who healthy, and I had obviously. Like I was just rounded and healthy and people wanted to, they called me
Bring you
welfare.
down.
Yeah, bring you down for it. And I struggled so much because I lived in Perth as well. And Perth is such a rural area. And then coming to Canberra. So I went from like Iraq to Jordan. From Jordan back to Iraq, the war started. From Iraq to Syria, from Syria to Perth, from Perth to Canberra. That was in about first 10 years and first 14 years of my life. And it's so interesting to see the other countries that I had. I obviously went from country to country, but there was the bully everyone would be like, why are you bullying? Like if you're a bully, that's not cool. Like, no. Then I came to Australia and it was like, the bully gets put on a hierarchy. And it was such a weird concept. And so that's why I was, when I came in, it's all about kindness and loving and sharing and not discriminating against each other. And, I had Catholic and Christian friends, and I was Muslim, but I would still celebrate it. And, I'd bring them gifts to say, Merry Christmas. Yeah. But coming to Australia, it was like, oh, you're Muslim? Oh, go back to your country. I got spat on.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I've been like, but then when I took the headscarf off at the age of 15, 14, 15, it was like I was blending in more and I was accepted more. I took it off not because of that reason. I just I didn't have faith anymore in that way. I have faith in just not in that religion, but yeah, I changed my ways, and it was so interesting to see that. So, I was like, wow, it was such a culture shock, and you probably all would have had that because how we talk is very direct, but also loving, and there's no there was no discrimination at school. Literally, people were always just lovely and kind, and the leader was always like, no, don't bully people. And then I came to here and I endured hell. Like growing up in Australia, I wish some people would, I wish they had a different experience, but honestly, it made me obviously tougher and more empathetic to some reasons, and also made me more angry in some areas. But my gosh, the culture here for me, I had a culture shock. I mean, now I'm fine, and I've been here for like 15 years. But after 15 years now, I feel somewhat, even that, I still have that identity going back and forth. Like, I'm not Australian enough. I'm not Iraqi, and Middle Eastern enough. You never really be enough, because like no, but fuck that. Fuck that.
Because you don't even, because like with me, it was very different, because I went from Nigeria to Japan to back to Nigeria, Namibia, Paris, Vienna, back to Nigeria, this Hungary, this one. So it's like I just realized even for Nigerians, I was white. Because of the way I speak. And then for like other non-Nigerians, I was African. I was very Nigerian. Yeah. So like I had this moment, like, which we were friends at the moment, I was having my identity crisis, and it was just going on for years of trying to figure out who I am. And bro, the only thing I needed to do was just accept that, like, this is who I am. I go really thick on my African accent, and then I can also give you a little bit of an English accent sometimes.
And it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, does it? It's normally better than this, but, I'm just going to
We move. We've got to do what we've got to do, hey?
Exactly. And, it's like... Okay, I'll just stop now.
Of course, we have to always get attention.
I've cracked it on, and I can't stop. But it's like... Sorry,
because I remember you did it in class. We were starting at uni, and Adanna asked a question, and all of a sudden she started speaking in English accent.
And the thing is, I met someone who's just like that, like me, and we always do it, and we just keep going.
Just switch it up.
But you gotta just switch it up. But that's the thing about going back to what you were saying. But when I was saying fuck that, as in like, there's one side that wants you to be this and one side wants to be that. I say, fuck that. I'm going to be my own self, and I'm going to find my own feet. If I like a bit of this culture and I like a bit of this culture, I'm going to find my own bit. And you've got to understand that and I hope one day humanity will realize that, but I'm not going to listen to anybody or even decide. I mean, maybe once upon a time, but now I'm just going to do my own thing.
And it's my identity. Like I grew up in Paris. I grew up with like
Viennese
people. My friends are Viennese. Like my friends are French. My friends are Nigerian. It's part of my identity. It will be really unfair for me to just be. That's when people ask me like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm from Nigeria, and they're always like, "Oh, but like." the way you're speaking is not Nigerian.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
Excuse me, what?
Do you want me to start giving
Pardon
you the
me?
list of all the countries that I've been living
It's like,
in?
that's when people say, "Oh, you're not Iraqi. You must be not Iraqi. Are you mixed with something? Are
Where's
you
the
this?
accent?
What's the accent? Yeah, you don't. I'm like, yeah, I have an Aussie tone because I studied a lot and I had, of course, and it's like, and it's like, oh, you're not this or not that, but you, as with Anton, going back to with that, don't ever feel like you need to go and that you are intelligent. And of course, and you know what? There's a lot of Nigerian mums and Middle Eastern mums. Like my mum wouldn't let me. Growing up with the Middle Eastern family, most of them that couldn't speak English, because I spoke, I learned English and I started, being exposed to it a lot more. So I had better English by the time, in a year's time. So when I got older, I would take the phone calls. I would, they'd feel embarrassed. They wouldn't be able to say, because I've been there and I know how it feels. Because I've been at times where I've been in detention and time out because I couldn't explain that wasn't me. So I had to just take it and I was crying and I was like, me, and I couldn't even explain it to them. And I couldn't even say I was joking. I couldn't even say I need a translator. Yeah. And then I had to go into timeout after time after timeout till I was like, I was getting more frustrated, but I was like, I'm going to learn. So I sat there in my timeout time and I got the dictionary, an Arabic to English dictionary to English to Arabic, and I wrote all the words of how do I describe this, and I wrote it down. I went up to the teacher, I'm like, And she's like, oh, I was like, and then she was like, oh, and they apologized afterwards, but after like 2 months of that, it was horrible, but like, I understand it. That's how you learn. Yeah. So if you want something, you can get it, and don't ever feel embarrassed. Anyone who makes you feel that way, it's a reflection on them, not you.
And they're trying to shut down your light, man. And like at the end of the day, people, when they see you shining, it would affect them for some way, because if it's bringing down their light, they will always find a way to dim yours.
Oh, 100%. If they see a light, if people see a beacon of light, they'll want to suck it all
Ooh.
up. I want some of that. And
that's not me.
We've got sound effects in the background.
Do we have more questions?
Yes. You read my mind. Oh, I like that.
I'm getting used to this.
Yeah, we got one more question. We've been talking for well over an hour now.
Oh, damn, wow.
It's been fascinating, so thank you guys for coming out.
We can go on forever.
Toby asks, we also kind of touched on this at the start. What's the best way to get out of a creative rut?
Oh, I can help you with that one.
For sure.
Been there, done that multiple times. Like we touched that base on the start, at the start of the show, we talked about, not burning out. And if you get into that, let's say you did burn out and it's done, dusted. The best thing is you're obviously in that space. So first of all, give yourself some love. Don't beat yourself up even further. You're already in that. So why even make your life even harder when it's already is, and you've established that. So accept the fact that you're in this now. Bring out a piece of paper and start to manifest of what you want to do. And manifesting is obviously writing it down and putting that out to the universe and working for it. But you've got to our brains get really clouded and we can get lost in our own brains. So get those thoughts on a piece of paper and write down what you want and what you don't want. And then when you look at that, then you can start to realize, okay, this is what I need to work on and this is what I want more of. And that you start to see a clear picture. So it's about painting a clear picture for your mind. Yeah. Because your mind doesn't talk to you. You have to have a certain language for your brain, right? So writing that down is more of like a visual of what you want, but you can have all these things going on and then you start anxiety happening, things start to, you freak out, who knows?
Insecurities are born.
Exactly. So you've got that there, you write that down, you go, okay. And then you really start to affirm and do your affirmations where I am this, I am that, and really start to write down your strong points and the points that you're not happy with. So then, because your light feeds your dark and your dark feeds your light, it all works hand in hand. So if you're in your shadow self when you're in that rut, so work within that. It's time for you to learn. And then when you learn and you realize what you need to work on, you go, oh, okay, this is just my time to just really reflect, and it's okay if I felt that way. And then when you start to do that more on your daily basis, that becomes something, a ritual in your life. And then when you're dipping on that roller coaster, it's not just complete shadow down and you feel like, oh, I can't get out of this, and it gets harder. It becomes like a little wave. And it's nice and smoother. That's how I feel it would really help.
Sorry, you go.
I just want to add a bit. For me, it's a sign for your body to for
recover.
me when I have creative rut, it's like, okay, it is the time to take care of my body.
Yeah.
Like go to my favorite restaurant.
Yes.
Like drink hot tea with lime, whatever. Or like
Treat yourself.
Feed yourself.
It's-
Fill that
yeah.
cup.
It's
Feed
okay,
your soul,
it's
man.
It's
Yeah.
okay to be not productive for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And then you have the other 5 days to be much
And
more
so-
productive.
And sometimes you need a break, man. Like sometimes,
Yes, we're
like,
human. We
like,
need to recharge.
Yes.
Sleeping is really important.
Literally, like with me, like when that time when I took earlier this year when I was working for myself, I was like, oh my god, I need to do this every day. I need to do this every day. Oh my god, and it's like,
100%.
and then I got my job and I didn't do anything. And like normally I would always be like, oh my god, I haven't created anything. But I'm just like, look, I'm focusing myself on this thing now. Put your focus on one thing.
Be in the now.
Exactly. Put your focus on one thing. Start with one thing, even if it's like, if you're whatever artist, whatever field of artistry that you're doing, whether it's drawing or music, just put 10 minutes of your day into that thing every day. Just
Exactly.
start out with just 10 minutes. Just time it. Like I remember I wanted to start meditating and I've just started meditating now. I start meditating 10 minutes a day.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. And it's really helped. Like actually meditation is also like anyone out there who whether
Do you remember when you used to say, "Oh, I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to do it."
I can't be able to put myself in
yeah,
silence.
and then look
Look
where
at
you
you
are
now.
now.
Where am I?
And she has improved. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. And I feel like, that I think we were friends. Me and Maze and I were friends. We've been friends for like 2 years, but we had a year where we didn't speak to each other at all. And I think you can see the difference between like how angry I used to be back in the
Yes,
day
yes.
until now.
How you used to communicate to now, and I'm glad you've taken in what I've said to
Taking
you.
the time.
Yeah, and like actually reflect. You're good
Yeah.
at reflecting. So when someone comes to you and says things to you, you take a time to reflect and realize, your spirit and what you need.
What you need.
At the time, you might have not been able to take it in, but it took a bit of time for you to take it. And when you did, you realize that you can. Well, as soon as you can't, that's a limiting belief.
Exactly.
And that's what we've talked about. And I've seen you, progress with that. So good on you for doing that. And, bit by
But
bit.
it's about day by day process. Like no one, like, Einsteins are not built in a day. Like, these people that we look up to, Beyonce for me, or anyone we all look up to, like they were not built in a day. It took time. So like,
my naturopath gave me a non-negotiable, which is one of the things is I meditate. I had a moment like for quite a lot, and that's what helped me breath work as well. And as Adanna would know, and she's I've been helping her on that journey, and she's doing amazing. And it is a journey, but it's about commitment and having that non-negotiable. So I can go and stir off and sometimes not be consistent with it. So I may go off a week with it and without. So my naturopath has given me a non-negotiable 10 minutes a day with meditating. Take that time out. Even if you need to sit down. And meditating isn't like, I'm not talking about like you have to, because Adanna used to be like, oh, but I can't. I'm like, girl, no, you just need to sit down wherever you're in your comfortable spot, laying down on your ass or whatever you need to do, and just take a moment and breathe in. And I do a lot of full moon rituals and a lot of full moon meditation. And I'll invite you next time. You have to join in. But I've invited Adanna a couple of times and some of my friends, and I want to create more of a community around the full moon, because the full moon magnifies such strong energy, and if it can control the tide, and it's the ocean, and we're 80% water, imagine what it would do to us, right? So it's so important to even going into that. I enjoy it so much, and it helps myself personally and the community that around me. And I remember Adanna this is a good sentiment that she used to be like, oh, someone who's very, she, at the time she had a lot of thoughts coming in, there was just her surroundings weren't the best. She didn't have the best of friends at the time. Her guidance wasn't the best at that time. And,
I was spreading my energy into the wrong things.
Wrong things. And you weren't having the right support.
Yeah.
And then when you do get the right support, this is a sentiment to when you get the right support and the right people, you see the difference. And then she had to take that time to herself to realize, okay, let's go through that rebirth. but it's
Metamorphosis.
metamorphosis.
I was like manifestation.
Metamorphosis, and shedding through that.
Metamorphosis,
Yeah,
for sure.
and that's really important to do that. So
And we're making a film about it actually, Maze and I.
Metamorphosis.
I'm
and
excited
John,
to.
about metamorphosis because it's a huge thing, and I really want to say, if there's anything I can say now before we like finish up,
Yeah.
is that anyone who is going through a pace where they feel like they can't dig themselves off, like Toby had said, a rut, celebrate that rut as well. Like,
Yeah, accept it.
celebrate your lows. Like, it's okay to not be okay, as long as it's how you treat people in that situation that actually matters.
100%.
And like communicate, and it's like I would get angry, I would get frustrated, and it's like how I would communicate to you or how you would communicate to me or whatever, back and forth. That's what actually matters at the end of the day. It's like your actions when you're in, I'm just repeating myself.
It's because we have normalized busy. We have normalized you have to always be happy. What is happiness? Happiness isn't, everyone's trying to seek it, but no one seems to, it's not tangible. It is. It is very, but it's about like, what is happiness to you? What fills your cup and fills your soul? Like, if it is cars or things, that's also okay. It's about realizing we are duality. As humans, we can be very complex, but we can also be very simple. And I've touched base with you guys about this. And that's the beauty about it. You can have days where, things might be not good and you celebrate. Yeah. And there's some days where things are not. So same thing with you as a self. You can be so complex and so simple. So celebrate both, because it's all about duality.
Exactly.
And having that is what keeps you going and keeps it. But if you're fighting every single emotion, it's an emotion, it comes and goes.
And celebrate who you are, darling. Like that it is what it is at the end of the day. I own my loudness, I own my excessiveness, I own my extraness, I own it all. Just celebrate it.
What about you, Anton? What were you thinking? I can see you pondering. What are you pondering about?
No, I think we almost finished. I just want to say my last word is not last words. Like
my last words. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
No, everyone. This is it.
no, like no matter how good you are,
Never see me again.
Be kind.
Yes.
To others.
Be kind. 100%.
It's very important.
Okay, Ellen.
You get kind.
Be kind, everyone. Be kind.
Exactly.
No, 100%. Just have empathy in your heart. Be kind. Don't let motherfuckers walk over you. Stand your ground, even though people be kind and loving, but also be a badass bitch and do whatever you need to do.
Exactly.
Yes, you can be kind and loving, but you can also stand your ground. You can still be so kind, and I have all the love in my heart for humans, but God, if anyone crosses me or tries to do me bad,
Cut a bitch.
maybe not do that. Let's not do that. That's a bit too intense and aggressive.
Just adding sound effects.
People are going to take it literal.
Sound effects.
Sound effects. I like that. I like that. Definitely just stand your ground and own yourself.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
a bit of both.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great way to end the podcast. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
us.
It's been
everyone.
awesome learning about your creative endeavours and your creative circles here in Canberra. So thank you for popping in.
Thanks for
Taking the
having
time.
us.
This is amazing.
Wow, we're in sync. I like this.
Wow.
Sorry to anyone with audio.
Thank you. See you guys.